In this lesson, we're going to take a look at how we can modify spaces. To begin with, I'm here on my 0-1 space plan, and I've added spaces to all these rooms, but one thing that I'm unsure about is how they're looking vertically. Are they filling the rooms all the way up to the ceilings, for example? So I'm going to begin by checking out the gym. I am going to create a section view across the gym here. And then I can go ahead and rename this to Gym Section. I'm going to go ahead and activate the Gym section. And I'm also going to set the subdiscipline for this particular one to MEP. Then I'm going to turn on the display of spaces. Clearly you can see that I'm unable to see the spaces right now. So I will type VV or VG to get into visibility graphics. Then I will scroll down to spaces, hit the plus next to it, and turn on interior. Then click OK. I'm going to do at least a couple of these sections, so I'm going to go ahead and create a view template from this view. So I'll right click on Gym Section, create view template from view. I'll give it the name Space Section. Then click OK. When I apply this to later views, I want it to take on all the properties of this view except for the scale. I want to leave the scale alone. So I'll deselect that and then click OK. Now the spaces are visible in this view. As I can see, this space that was placed inside the gym just went up to floor 2, which was not good enough. I needed to go all the way to the ceiling. The ceiling is room bounding, so all I need to do is just simply take the space and move it above the ceiling. So I'll click and drag the control and then drop it somewhere above the ceiling, and as you can see, even though my line is up top, the space terminates when it hits the room bounding ceiling. I'll return to my space plan. And next we're going to take a look at what's going on in the cafeteria and the kitchen. So once more I'll create a section view that cuts across those two rooms. And then I can go ahead and rename this one Cafeteria Section. And then I can go ahead and apply my Space Section template to this one. So apply template properties, Space Section, and OK. I'll go ahead and open up the Cafeteria section. And I'll zoom in here to see how things are looking. So I can see this space fills the area up to the ceiling. This space here, though, does not. So I can either adjust the properties or I can drag the top edge up. If I wanted to adjust the properties, I can come over and adjust the limit offset to 5 feet so that it's 5 feet above floor 2. As you can see, it now fills it to the ceiling. You can also just simply click and drag it. I find that a little easier because maybe I don't know the exact value to type in, but I can very clearly visually see that I want it to go up above. When putting in spaces, we want to make sure that we fill every area in the building with spaces. So these open areas up above are known as plenums. This is where we might have our ductwork and electrical work running through here. And we want to add spaces to this area as well. To start, we're going to create a new level here for that plenum so that we can see it in plan view. I'm going to, here on the Architecture tab, go to Datum and Level. And we want this to be at the 14-foot level. So instead of drawing it, I'm going to go ahead and use the Pick Lines tool, and I'll enter in a 14-foot offset. Then I'll come down to floor 1 and offset it up from there. So here is my new level. I'm going to rename it Cafeteria Plenum. Yes, I want to rename all of my corresponding views. It's a bit of a mess in here, so I'm also going to click the little break line, the add elbow symbol here, and then I'll adjust this up, and I'll adjust the grips over as well to get that to display more nicely. So now we have this new level here. A plan view has been created associated with this level. One thing I should note as well, the exercise tells you to disable the building story. I did not do that in the creation mode, so I'll go ahead and do it after the fact here. And then I can go to my new view of Cafeteria Plenum. If I click the plus next to Coordination, then Floor Plans, I'll see Cafeteria Plenum in here. I'm going to apply a template property and apply the space plan to it so that I'll be able to see spaces in there. As you can see, that moved it down to the MEP node. I'll go ahead and double click that view to open it up. And I can see the spaces here, but there are no spaces over here in the cafeteria and the kitchen. So I'm going to manually add some spaces here. I'll go back to the Analyze tab, then choose Space, and then I'll simply click in these two areas. Then I will need to manually rename these. So I will change this one to Cafeteria Plenum, and I will renumber this 6000. And then we'll rename this one to Kitchen Plenum. And we'll renumber this one to 6001. Now I'll return back to the cafeteria section view, and we can see the plenum spaces that were added in here. We have a similar problem to what we had in the earlier space in that it's not completely filling up the area. So to fix this, we can just simply drag their bottoms down below the ceilings below them. And as you can see, they will fill the areas properly. Of course, I could also put in a base offset value, a negative value as well, but once again, I find it easier to just go ahead and drag the controls down below. And now we have the spaces properly filling those plenum areas. I'm going to return to my space plan, and I want to see if there's any errors with my spaces. And by default, I don't get any display of errors, but if I go ahead and select all of my objects, I will see a warning pop up on my ribbon, Show Related Warnings. So I'll go ahead and select this, and it indicates that there's some sort of problem down here. I can see that it's highlighting the copy room, and I can see there's some warnings here. It looks like there's some overlapping. So I'm going to specifically come in here and select the copy space since there was an error associated with that, and I can see the related warning here. And it says that I have space volumes overlapping, and adjust the upper limits and offset properties of the spaces. So I can see that it's basically this copy, and there's a plenum up above it that it's interfering with. So I can't really see the plenum in this view, so I'm going to make a section view to look in there. So I'll create my section view, and I'll just cut across the reception and the copy room looking to the south. I'm going to activate my section view here, and I currently can't see any spaces, so I'm going to find it in my project browser and apply template properties and apply the space section to it. My view is actually a little high, so I'm going to use my cropping to bring that back down so I can see the first floor here. And so remember, there was some issue with the copy room and the plenum up above. So if I select the space in the copy room, I can actually see the problem here. There's a portion of it that's going up into the plenum, which it shouldn't be doing. So here is the plenum, and there is the overlap. So let's take a closer look at the space plan and see if we can see what's going on here. In each of these rooms, there are doors, and when placing spaces, the door area is recognized and the space does not run into that area. The copy room has an opening, so Revit didn't recognize that the spaces should not be drawn through the wall area. So I just simply need to adjust the boundaries of these spaces. So I'll go to the Analyze tab and use my space separator. Then on either side of the doorway here, I will draw in a space separator. I'm going to go to thin lines so that looks a little better. Now we can see that the space is broken up at that doorway. If I look back at the section 1 and select the copy room space now, you can see it no longer goes up into the plenum. We should no longer have any interferences. Just to double check, I can come back and select my copy room, and I no longer have an error indication here. That concludes this look at modifying spaces in Autodesk Revit.